Drives me up the wall. I recently found a local farm that sells raw milk and beef, but I found out that they feed the cows corn grain. Should I go for the milk, or is it a pass? And what about the meat? Look, the animals tend to detox a lot of this sort of stuff. They tend to clear all that. Even when you look at grain-fed animals, I've actually shown us some studies. The actual composition of the fats isn't basically that, like that horrendous. I know there's a lot of people that sort of make a big fuss about it, but give me a sec. Just finish off my coffee because it's nearly 8 o'clock. Just it's a milk coffee. It's actually nice. But what was I saying? But the profile isn't as some people think that it is. Some people have this sort of I don't know, falsehood that it's something like a horrendous amount in that sense, but it's not. It's basically, I would say, far less in that regard. But a lot of people basically going to make a big bloody friggin' issue of it for their own reasons. I don't know why, but it's one of those strange things that people seem to have this aversion or need to basically do that. But it's just the way it is. My sort of view is that if you can afford grass-fed, grass-finished meat, you're going to get more micronutrients from it if you can afford it. If you can afford organic pastured milk, it's going to be better, far superior in the micronutrient content. But I can't tell you what to buy or things like that, or whether to give it a pass. That's up to you, Tom. You sort of have to, I don't know, your finances. I don't know that. In a sense, even that sort of nutrition is going to be superior to eating plants. Let's put it that way. So I usually say, compared to what? When you're comparing it to grass-fed, grass-finished, yeah, fine. You got an argument there. But if you're comparing it to kibble and, animal foods that are basically have been animals that have been fed, that then we get some of the food products from them, the differences are not that big. I mean, I've actually shown, even with the pork and the foraging porks and the non-foraging porks, and the differences weren't dramatic. Because still, every animal still needs to build tissue in a certain way and can still take a lot of lipid, fatty acids, amino acids, and recombine them. There's a whole lot of enzymatic process that can recombine them in the way the animal needs them. So you're not going to get these massive differences in that regard. It's not like you're eating something inappropriate, a species inappropriate thing, and you're going to basically derange a certain thing. At the end of the day, these animals take plants and they ferment them in their gut, and they create, fats and proteins from them, and then they consume those bugs in that acidic stomach, and that's how they derive most of their stuff. So it's not going to be a horrendous amount. The things that I concern myself mostly about that is a certain amount of glyphosate. Now, it's going to be extremely low. Why? Because, like us, they've got in their livers, they've got, cytochrome P450 enzymes that can actually degrade and break these things down. A number of other, methyl donors and all sorts of things, and biological processes that can actually eliminate a lot of these in there. Through bile, you can actually take out a lot of toxins and stuff like that. Even excess minerals. I mean, your bile actually removes it. This sort of, it's only when, people talk about, oh, I've got mineral, or a mineral overload or whatever that. And who are these people? They all tend to be plant-based people or kibble eating people that basically have poor gallbladder function. You need bile to excrete excessive minerals. That's how the body gets rid of them. Anything excessive, it gets rid of it through bile. It stores it in the liver and then gets rid of it through bile, and then through the feces. So I've never sort of subscribed to these sort of notions that it's going to be horrendously bad, in a sense. And even animals that are grass fed and grass finished could be consuming grass that has been sprayed with glyphosate. So is it organic? Is it organic grain? And is it organic pasture? I mean, is it? And so even that will be detoxed, but a bit will be left over. So it's it's a frustrating one for me. You can see, Tom, I'm frustrated because when I look at the literature, I can't see these massive differences, these massive benefits, or somebody, somebody please show me where I'm wrong type thing. I don't see it. And that's sort of what drives me, you could say, crazy about some of the nonsense that people talk about continuously. And it's like unrelenting. And I'm going, what the fuck? Don't you have a life in that regard?